Morning. On my previous video, I showed these that I purchased from AliExpress. And this is a LUOWEI, I presume that's how you pronounce it, a Practica soldering tip fly line kit. Now it comes with the C210 tip itself. Well, not the actual tip, but the insert cartridge. And then it also comes with these 10 little tips with the copper ends. Now, in this video, I'm hopefully going to find out if these are any good for micro USB-C ports, not the ports with the pins on the back and front, but at least the ones on the back. Also micro USB, maybe HDMI ports on a PS5, and also maybe drag soldering around the edges of ICs and stuff like that. So we're going to find out today whether this is any good. Now the solder station I will be using is an A902, sorry. It's a dual station that I purchased from AliExpress. I also have an A9 Pro, which is just a single version. And the reason why I wanted a dual was because I want a two-handle setup. Ideally, I'd like to have three. I could set up the A902 Pro as well, but for now, the dual seems to be the go-to. I will also be using, again, which I bought from AliExpress, a Jing T33 Pro board holder. Now, at first, I didn't think it was going to be to my liking. However, my mistake, and they actually do lock in. I didn't think they locked in, but they do lock in. Anyway, that's by the by. Now, you have a choice in here whether you want to use the jumper wire that comes with it, or you can use your own. And it comes with a little let's zoom down on that. It comes with this little reel of jumper wire. However, I normally use this stuff, which it is 0.10 millimeter. Now, whether this is thinner than that, I do not know. But I use this quite often. I've got quite a... Now, this is enameled, so you will have to burn off the enamel. Yeah, that's the only problem with these reels, is that you get bits flying off of it. This is enamel coated, so the enamel will have to be burnt off first. So we're going to try that today and see. The solder I'm using is a Mechanic XST100, and this is 0.8 millimeter. So we're going to give that a go and see whether it's any good. Let's take that tip out of there and put this one in here. Now, how this is going to work, I do not know. I did go through a spate of using not a knife tip, but I was using the, I think it's the IS, which is the conical, but the angled conical, the bent conical, and I got on quite well with that. However, I've since started using a knife tip, and yeah, I'm sort of torn between the two. I mean, don't get me wrong, a knife tip is okay, especially when you're... I find it okay when you're doing pins on an HDMI port, for example, a PS5 or Xbox. So yeah, but we're going to try that anyway. Now, I'm going to switch over to the microscope. Let me lock this in first. I'm just debating whether to try the pins on this. I mean, this is just a crap board I had anyway. I think that the main chip's gone in it, so it doesn't really matter whether I destroy it or not. And we might do some trace repair as well and see if it's any good. Well, we don't even have to do trace repair really. We can just run the jumper lead from anywhere here to anywhere here and just see what it's like. And then you can get some sort of idea of whether it's going to be for you or any good for trace repair. So we'll lock this board in and make sure I get it locked in like I didn't yesterday. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's locked in. Yeah, that's okay. All right. I'm just trying to which is the better angle. This angle here. Yeah, maybe. So we'll see anyway. I'll set the microscope up. Should be already done. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get problems with it. No, we're good. We're good. So let's see. Let's turn that brightness down. Get it into focus. I could. Let me see. Yeah, we can use that. Yeah, we can use this chip here. It's right near that. I might go that side. Let's try this HDMI port. Now let me get my flux over. The flux I'm using is the Nano Flux Paste M35. Although if you do get these tubes, be aware that they leak if left with the standard plunger, which is a bit of a pain really, but and because of that I have to have a well, I don't have to, but I do anyway. I always put some kitchen towel down because they do tend to leak. Right, so let's now I've set the soldering station to, I'll try with 300 degrees at first and we'll see how we go with that. Of course I'm going to tin the copper tip. We'll show you how it takes the solder on after anyway. So let's see where we go with the, I mean, you can see that the tip's quite fine. So I don't really think, is that? I don't know. Let me see. We can get a bit closer to that. Yeah, that's a bit better. So, I mean, I guess. Yeah, let's turn that up to say 3. Let's go to 320. It's not it's not really touching that, is it? Let's go to 350. Let's try 350. That might be a bit too high for this. I don't know, it seems to be okay. Now I normally use the edge of this when I'm doing pins. And because this one it's got like a little sharp sharper point than my standard knife tip. It seems to be doing okay. Okay, so let's try with let's clean that up a bit and see what we got. Now you might not be able to see this very well. Let me see if I can get down a bit closer. I'll just go over those legs again so we can. Yeah, it's taken off the starting to take off the conformal coating, but then again, these are cheap boards anyway. Let's get rid of that fluff out of there. Right, let's try that again. And you can see, let's have a look. You can see the end of the tip. I mean, how this would perform on an HDMI port on a PS5 maybe. But you can see it is melting the solder, so it is doing its job. Yeah, it's doing it quite well, to be honest. Maybe too well. Let's turn it down to 340 a minute. I think that might be a bit too high. Right. What else have we got on there? Let's see how it handles it on the SMDIC. Is that? It's not a flash chip. Yeah, there's a flash chip there. So let's see how well it handles that. I mean, you know, you can probably just use it for general light solder work, not necessarily not necessarily jumper wire. Oh yeah. So it's transferring the heat okay. There's no problem there. At 340, no problem there. Let's pick some up. How about this inductor here, coil? See how it handles that. I mean, this is only a small board anyway, so it's not gonna soak up a lot of heat. Let's see. Let's clean that. Oh yeah, no problem. So I think you could probably use this not just for light work or for trace repair. Let's try on this. Let's try on this IC here. I mean, this board ain't no good anyway, so we can trash it. Now, I'm no expert at drag soldering. I will point that out. Although I've seen some people do it and it looks absolutely brilliant. I'm no expert when it comes to drag soldering. I'm no expert when it comes to trace repair. However, I have done my fair share. My worst headache was on a PS4, where I think it was probably best part of 14 pads were broken. Yeah, that was a complete nightmare, an absolute nightmare. We could, let's see, let's go from here. Now this is either going to go pear-shaped or it's going to go let's go back over that again because we've got a lot up here. Yeah, let me put some more flux on that. We could go down from the pins, but I just wanted to see whether this was going to be any good. Let's clean this tip off and then hopefully that will take that off as well. Let's get some wick on that part there. See when it wicks up. Oh boy. Well, I think that's safe to say. Yeah, that does a job. Yeah, I was probably actually drag soldering on the top up here instead of actually on the edge of the pins. So it seems to handle that pretty well. And let's go over that again. Again, I'm no expert when it comes to drag soldering, you know, but I've seen people do it. And, you know, it looks fantastic. And then we'll go over after and make sure all the pins. Make sure the pins look okay. It doesn't matter anyway, it's this board. Well, we've got a bridge there. For starters, I spotted that. Yeah, right just there. So we'll get rid of that bridge. There we go. Just make sure we don't have no other bridges that we can see. Now, have I lifted some of the pins? Or are they all okay? Let's get the tweezers. We can quickly go down the edge of this. Yeah, I mean, I know the pins were soldered before, but obviously the solder was melting on them, and that's basically the main point of this, is to see whether you can use it. What about this thing here? We've got another one there, so we'll use this one here. Let's see if it bridge rectifier maybe. I don't know. Let's see. There's no problem there whatsoever. Now that, again, it could be down to obviously the soldering station, the solder tip, and the flux, and also the solder as well. But I just wanted to see what it was like, whether it could be used for, you know, everyday soldering. What we'll do now is I'm going to break a trace, and just see. I mean, obviously they've got thin ones on here. Those are they're quite short on there, so I'll probably do another video with a longer trace that I can sort of sacrifice. So for example, let's just do this one here. What have we got here? Let's have a look. I'm going to break this trace right in the middle. Let's go right away across it. I'll tell you what, let's go one better. Let's break the trace completely. Let's get the let's put the multimeter on and just make sure we've got no continuity between either side. Bear with me a second. I should have had this bottom already. There we go. Incidentally, while we're talking about multimeters, I don't know if anyone's thinking about getting an 1041. Don't bother. Yeah, some other people have said that it's a good meter, but I don't know whether it's just me or whether it's mine. But it's just a pain in the ass. It never, when you try to switch over with, I mean, that it could be down to the software. Not just, I can't just blame the multimeter. It could be the software. So let's make sure we got no. And I know this is quite a thick wire, a thick trace, sorry. So this is probably not really a good test for just a standard trace repair. Yeah. Let's make sure we got no continuity between that side. And now my leads are caught up. Of course they would be. And that there's no continuity. So okay, so let's see how it handles this. I mean, this is just a little test. It's not a full-on test. I just wanted to see, I was curious to see whether these would be beneficial in terms of, you know, because they've got quite a steep angle as well. they should be okay for, you know, for getting the ends of the, whereas if you go with the standard knife tip, I mean, it might be because mine's probably a bit worn now, so we'll go with this, the wire that I normally use, which is 0.10 millimeters, and we'll see how we get on with that. Now let me get my tweezers, because I'm gonna have to take the coating off, which shouldn't be too difficult. It's pretty good. Let's tighten that up a bit. Should use some anyway. Should use some better tweezers than these. I think these are just about at it now. Let's get some flux on that. As I said, this is not a real test of trace repair, but I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see whether these tips are actually any good, and for the money, I think it was £8 UK pounds, £8.77 or £8.24.74, something like that. The links in the description of my previous video anyway. They also do the conical tip version and also the bent tip version. Now, first impressions, I'm quite impressed, to be honest. Considering that they're just considering they're just tips that sit on a cartridge. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. I mean, it seems to handle most things that you throw at it. So so if I was doing this for a customer, I'd be putting conformal coating on that, but because it's just a scrap board, then and there you go. I mean, we've got continuity between the two ends now, whereas we didn't have before. So yeah, I mean, it was a short video anyway. It was just I just wanted to see what they were like in terms of whether they were going to be any good for trace repair, any good for any other job that we do with a soldering iron, soldering station. So yeah, that's the LUOWEI Practica flyline solder tip kit. What this is like to use, I don't know, but I'll just compare. Let me switch the iron off, because we don't obviously want it on when I compare the two tips side by side. Now this is my let me just zoom down. So I can't get any further. This is the tip I normally use, the knife tip. As you can see, the angle is not sort of very deep, but from what I could see from this, compared to that, the angle is quite deep. You can compare the two. I mean, it might be this one's worn now, probably is worn now. But yeah, so first impressions, I'm very impressed. It handles most little jobs just the same way as the knife tip would. So much so, I'm going to buy the IS version, I think it is, for the angled conical tips, which are this type. Let me see. Yeah, this type here. Let me just zoom back down again. I call it the IS because that's what I think I've known it as. Yeah, it's so that one. Yeah, the bent conical when it focuses. Yeah, the angled conical. I used to use this tip all the time until I then changed over and started using the knife tip. But I think, judging by what I've seen so far, I think probably this one is going to be my go-to. And it's good that they give you 10 extra tips. Now that could be because the tips don't last very long, or it could be the fact that they're just, you know, generous, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Let me take that off of there. Yeah, so that's that. You know, I'm quite impressed with that. As what you call a cheap cold soldering tip kit. I mean, I know you can buy these. I think some of these, the cheaper ones, these work out about, depending on what brand you get, you can get one of these for about £8 something. So it works out the same. The difference being is that when the tip breaks on this or it goes, you've got to throw it away. But with this, you probably buy the individual tips, you know, later on. But even having said that, even if you had to buy another one of these with the cartridge, the £8 something, it's a bargain. No one's gonna, you know, no one's gonna turn their nose up at that. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video now. I basically did what I wanted to do just to see if it was any good. I like it so far, and you know, perhaps maybe if you're in that sort of field and you do have a C210 handle, it's a shame really they don't bring them out for other, but they may well do. They may bring them out later on for the C245 or the T115, C115 I think it is, which is a smaller handle that obviously we use for micro soldering. So yeah, so I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe if it helps in any way, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye now.